Hello and welcome to my roundup of quite interesting cycling tech news that grabbed my attention in the last few days, including what appeared to be the brand new Cervelo R5, the all new Cervelo Aspero 5 gravel bike that has been launched, some very fancy and super lightweight wheels from Zipp, and my main topic for this video, why are roadies like us so obsessed with white shoes like these. But let's start with this brand new bike from Cervelo. So the R5 is the company's all-round lightweight race bike, last updated in 2018 with an aero makeover and disc brakes as an option. And we've already seen what appears to be a new bike in the works. It was spotted earlier this year and it's on the UCI list of approved equipment. But during Flesh Alone on Wednesday this week, Primoz Roglic was riding what appears to be the new bike. And we can tell because it's camouflage. They're not doing a very good job of hiding what appears to be a new bike, but it looks very different to the current R5, which we can handily see in this picture showing the two bikes side by side. What really stands out on the bike is clearly the internal cable routing on the bike, which is very different from the old bike, and that's a trend we're seeing on all top-end road bikes launched in the last 2 years or so, like the Specialized Tarmac, the Trek Amonda, Candel Super 6 Evo, and many more. And looking closely, zoom in on the picture, it looks like they're using the FSA ACR routing system. Now FSA have developed their own handbar and stem, which is an off-the-shelf system that a bike brand can use rather than developing their own system. And the Bianchi Specialissima, which I'm currently testing, is using this system, so I can tell from looking at that bike and that picture they are the same. That's odd though, because Cervelo do have their own internal cable routing system launched on the Caledonia endurance bike 2 years ago. But it's probably because the team is sponsored by FSA, big FSA logos on the handlebars, so that's probably why they're using that. So whether they use this system or their own system when the bike actually launches, or whether they use both, remains to be seen. But internal cable routing is the main change on the bike, and it looks very clean, as you would expect. The other change is the down tube appears to be quite a bit smaller than the current R5. So when the current R5 launched, they gave it a big fat airy down tube, but it looks like with the new bike they slimmed it down quite a bit. I imagine for weight saving, but also probably improved aero as well. And the other detail is there are no dropped rear stays as well, so that's quite interesting in itself. So that is the new Cervelo R5, no launch date and no details from Cervelo, no comment from them as you expect. But this is the first time we've seen it used in a race, and this suggests to me that it's pretty close to being launched. The fact of being used in a race by the team's top rider in a race like Flesh Alone suggests that the bike is pretty much ready. They won't make any changes to it now, no detailed change to the frame or the moulding or anything like that. And it's also sort of funny that they've used a camouflage paint job, which bike brands always do, and the same with car brands, they always camouflage their cars. But it doesn't really camouflage them or make them hard to spot. It has the opposite effect because it stands out from the other bikes that a team are riding. If they painted it in the same black and yellow as the team bikes, I probably wouldn't have spotted it. But the fact that it's got a cool camo paint job made it easier to spot. And the fact that only Primoz was riding the bike and riding the way he was doing, almost winning Flesh Alone if it wasn't for that late surge by Julian Alaphilippe. Such a close finish, really exciting, dramatic finish after a long race. But maybe that's the plan, to get the likes of myself and other cycling press and you guys at home watching it on TV to spot the bike, to start talking about it online, on forums, on Twitter, social media, and get a bit of buzz going around it before it actually launches and reveal it to the world. Anyway, on to a new bike that has launched from Cervelo this week with a brand new Aspero 5. Now Cervelo, as you know, grounded in road racing and aerodynamics, moved into the gravel bike market with the Aspero 2 years ago. Again, a fast, race-focused aero gravel bike in the kind of realms of the 3T Explorer Race Max, but probably not as extreme, but not a super versatile bike packing option, definitely focused on speed. And I rode it and reviewed it and was very, very impressed. A bike is fast off-road and on-road with good geometry, good attention to detail. And the Aspero 5 basically takes that bike and turns it up to 11. So same frame shapes, comes out the same mold, but a more refined, advanced carbon fiber layer, save a bit of weight. But a big change really is the internal cable routing at the front, which uses the same steer tube and stem system as the Caledonia 5 launched the year before it. So it has a special C-shaped steering tube for the hoses and cables go inside the frame, the own stem handlebar, new flared drop handlebar as well. So really clean front end, a bit more aero at high speeds perhaps, but also easy to fit a bar bag and other essentials on your bike. So it looks really sharp, really clean. All our details are the same as the old Aspero though, or the current Aspero. Got a neat external seat clamp and a round seat post, so you can fit a drop post if you want. Got 45mm tyre clearance on a 700C, and you can also fit a 650B wheel. And to retain the same handling regardless of wheel size and tyre size, you have an adjustable fork dropout, which is quite a neat feature as well. 1x, 2x compatible, you fit a front mech, take it off. Not the most versatile bike in terms of eyelets and mounts for different bags and accessories, but for speed, to go fast, yes, it definitely ticks that box very well. The new bike isn't cheap though, with prices here in the UK starting at £8,100 for a SRAM Force E-Tap Access equipped bike, going all the way up to £10,800 with red E-Tap. There's also a Shimano GRX Di2 build as well. So it's only compatible with electronic group sets, and that's because of the internal cable routing, which doesn't play well with mechanical group sets. So a very fast, very sleek looking new gravel bike from Cervelo. Hopefully I get a chance to ride one at some point this year and see how it compares to the old bike and how it compares to the 3T Explorer Race Max I reviewed previously. And now for some new carbon fiber wheel set news. And you might have seen my review on the Campagnolo Bora Ultra WTO wheels earlier this week. Link above if you missed that. Went down really well. Some really nice comments from you all, so thank you all for watching that video. And not to be outdone, this week Zipp have launched some new wheels as well, and they look pretty good on paper. So the brand new 353 NSW wheels take the same distinctive humpback whale inspired rim shape from the previous and original 454 NSW wheels and bring some of the tech from a new 303 5 I reviewed last year into what looks to be a really good super lightweight all-round wheel set. Admittedly, they're not cheap at £3,200 for the wheel set, but this is the company's kind of flagship wheel set, all their tech. You also don't get much weight for your money, a claim weight of just 1,255 grams, which is, to be honest, pretty ridiculous for a wheel set that's not that shallow and not that narrow, and not a fragile climbing early wheel, and quite a bit lighter than their Boras at 1450. So yeah, very impressive weight. So they're 45mm deep with a massive 25mm internal rim width, just like the Firecrest I reviewed last year. Like the Firecrest, it's a tubeless only, hookless bead profile, which makes the rim stronger and lighter and gives a better tyre profile. This girth is good for wide tyres and is designed for 25 up to 65, but it says the fastest with a 28 fitted. You can see the benefit of the hookless bead in this photo. So on paper, they look pretty awesome. I mean, really expensive, of course, super lightweight, but really wide, hookless, disc brake only, tubeless, designed for low pressures, designed for the sort of riding many of us are doing, and really shows how dated perhaps those Boras look with their 19mm internal rim width, which are fine for road racing, but if you want a fast wheel set for a bit of racing, but all-round riding, including a bit of gravel perhaps, the way Zipp are going does appear to be a better option. And the only way to find out if they're any good and live up to that quite impressive on paper spec is to ride them. And Zipp, if you're watching, you know where I am. Sort me out set, love to review them and see how compared to the Boras. And then onto my main topic of this week's video is, why are white shoes like these so popular? Now these are brand new Giro Empire shoes, just arrived for me to wear. You might have seen Giro sponsoring some of my videos. They do sponsor some of my bike review videos. This video isn't sponsored, just really keen to share them with you. And it really got me thinking, why are white shoes so popular? I mean, I love white shoes, but I never really thought why I love white shoes so much. And if you watch a bike race today, pretty much all the pros are wearing white shoes, bar a few exceptions. So why are white shoes so popular? Why do you think they're so popular? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic down below. Do you like white shoes? Do you hate white shoes? What's your opinion on white shoes? Let me know what you think. Do you share my love for white shoes? So I tried to get to the bottom of why white shoes are so popular and did some digging around and research and asked on Twitter last night. And it's tricky to get an actual definitive answer on when white shoes became as popular as they are now. I don't think there's any single moment in time or single point when white shoes suddenly exploded. It wasn't always this way, of course. Go back to when Eddie Merckx was racing and shoes were made from leather and most likely black or occasionally brown, worn with white socks, lace-ups. And then during the 90s, the road shoe really developed at a rapid pace with an explosion of materials and new technologies. Laces gave way to boa dials and Velcro straps and other ratchet arrangements, although laces are back in fashion now, with Giro particularly bringing them back in the last few years. And also carbon fibre sole as well for weight and power transfer, so maximum stiffness. So through the 90s, the shoes really went through a period of development. And if you look back at the pictures from the 90s, they weren't white, they were all sorts of colours. Blue, red, yellow, because they were discovering these new materials, the freedom it gave them over the old leather shoes, they went off in a wild direction of multicoloured shoes. And then in the last decade or so, last 15 years maybe, white really started to become the main choice for most pro roadies, bar a few exceptions, and all pro wannabes, of which I never thought myself to be one, but I guess I'm influenced by road racing. I watched lots of it and did quite a bit of road racing when I was younger. So I've subconsciously been influenced by white shoes. I do love white shoes. It's how clean they look, how fresh they look on a sunny day. But keeping them clean is a bugger, I know. They're not the most practical colour, especially here in the UK, but when they're clean, they look really good. And again, white bar tape, white helmet, white saddle. So they do look good, but not very practical. But what do you think of white shoes? Let me know down below. Do you love white shoes? Do you hate white shoes? Love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you have any more details on when white shoes became as popular as they are now, or your thoughts or theories on it, I'd love to hear from you. So let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, that's all for now. Just a quick roundup of news. New Cervelo R5 spotted in the wild first time. New Aspero 5 gravel bike. Some fancy new wheels from Zipp. And some new Giro shoes. I'll put a link to these down below if you want to check them out as well. And they come in other colours, not just white as well. Anyway, that's all for now. If you enjoyed watching the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all again next time. Thank you for watching.